Hi everyone. Import of goods, exports of goods, import of services, exports of services. These are one of the major businesses in UAE. So treatment of this kind of services in the UAE VAT return also very important to know all of us. So today we are going to discuss import, export of goods as well as services. Let us how the treatment of import and export in the VAT law as well as how it has been disclosed in 201 form in the UAE VAT return. First, we will discuss on exports of goods. Let us understand what is export of goods. To understand tax applicability on exports of goods, we have to know what is the place of supply of goods. So now we are going to discuss what is the place of supply of goods. The place of supply rule. The place of supply rule shall be determined based on whether the place of supply within the UAE or outside the UAE. So there is a basic rule of place of supply of goods, that is at the time of supply of goods whether the goods are located, that is a place of supply of goods. That is a basic rule of goods. There are some special rule. They are cross border supply, in which of the supplies in most parties in different countries, water and energy, real estate. In this case some special rules are applicable. The same time basic rule of place of supplies, the place where the goods are located at the time of supply take place. See here, domestic supply. In domestic supply supplies, the goods are moving in the one place of UAE to another place of UAE, to one location of to another location within the UAE. There is no movement of goods outside the UAE. Here VAT is applicable with the applicable rate, that is say 5% or zero rated as the case may be. For example, goods are moving from Abu Dhabi to Dubai. Goods are delivered, collected within UAE. So tax is applicable in the UAE. Now let us take different scenario. Suppose goods are moving from Dubai to another country. For example, from UAE it is exporting to UK. As the place of supply rules, the place of supply is UAE. But what will be the rate of tax? Yes, in case of export, even though the place of supply is UAE, rate of tax is zero rated. There are two type of export. One is direct export, one is indirect export. In case of direct export, the supplier is arranging transport. There are two conditions to be satisfied to consider as an export. In this case, goods are physically exported from UAE to outside. The other condition is that there should be some official as well as commercial evidence of export and is to be retained by the exporter. If these two conditions are satisfied, then only it will be considered as an export for considering as zero rated supply. In second cases, indirect export. In this case, the overseas customers arrange for the collection of goods from the supplier in the UAE and he himself export or through an agent he export the good for certain condition to be satisfied to consider as an indirect export, which is eligible to be considered for zero rated. The conditions are: 1. The goods should be physically exported from the UAE. There should be an official and commercial evidence of such export, which is to be retained by the supplier during the period of export. The goods should not be used or should not be altered by the exporter. And another condition, the goods should not be leaving the state in the position of a passenger or crew member of aircraft. If these four conditions are satisfied, then only be considered as an indirect export. Now, what is official document? Official document is a document which is issued by the authority, that is government authority. Here, custom department is the proof that goods are moving from UAE to outside UAE. This official document is the mandatory. It is normally issued by the government authority. Second one is the what is commercial evidence. While going the shipment, we get the bill of lading. If it is through ship, And if it is through flight, airway bills. Like that, airway bills, consignment note, bill of lading, certificate of shipment. These are the documents to be retained by the importer, by the exporter, by the supplier to prove that these are supply. These supplies are export. There are some cases where goods are coming to the UAE. Sales are happening outside UAE. For example, supplier may be in China, customer may be in UAE. The distributor is located in UAE. The distributor will make an order to collect goods from China and directly ship this to customer located in USA. In this is not a taxable supply in UAE because at the time of supply the goods are located outside the UAE. There is a basic rule of supply, place of supply. Since goods are outside the UAE, place of supply outside, it is not a taxable supply in the UAE. It is out of scope from the tax point of view in the UAE. See, this is a UAE VAT return form. Now, number 201. The first part is the output VAT, and this is the second part, that is input VAT. Now, let us know it has to be disclosed in a UAE VAT return form. During the tax period, for example, 2 million exported to UK. Actually, it is zero rate supply in the UAE VAT return. From you can see the line number 4 or the box number 4, we have disclosed the value of export, that is 2 million. It is zero rate, so there is no column for the tax to write. Let us how the export of services are treated. For many of the business export of services, little confusing clause whether it is taxable in the UAE, not taxable in UAE. Let us see how the law applicable here to consider that whether the VAT is applicable for any services or any export of services. We have to look what is the place of supply of services. Place of supply rules shall be determined based on whether the supply is made in the UAE or outside the UAE. For VAT purpose, place of supply of services shall be, as far as there is a basic rule. The basic rule says that place of supply is where the supply has to be place of residence. That is means whether the place of residence of suppliers, and that is the place of supply of services. But there are some special rule, example cross-border supplies, that is export of services, electronic supply of services, or the telecommunication of services. For this kind of services, it's where services are enjoyed, so such a special rules are applicable. But the basic rule is where the supply has to place of residence, that is the basic rule, that is the place of supply of services. There is special point which we have to look into as per Article 30 Section 2 of the UAE VAT law. Place of supply of services supplied by a person that is non-resident in the UAE to the registered business residence in the UAE is the UAE. That is, if a non-resident is supplying services to a person registered in the UAE, the place of supply will be UAE. Then taxes applicable in the UAE for such services. The basic rule says that place of supply in the case of services are to be the place of residence of the supplier. At the time there is a special rule applicable, hence as per clause number 2 of the Article 30 of the UAE VAT law, that is Federal Law number 8, if the services provided by a non-resident to a registered person in the UAE, the place of supply will be UAE. That means if anyone providing services from overseas to a person registered in VAT in the UAE, the place of supply will be UAE. The UAE VAT tax will be applicable. The export of services will be zero rated if the following conditions are satisfied. Number 1, the recipient of the services should not have a place of residence in the UAE and he should be outside the UAE when the services is performed. If these two conditions are satisfied, then export of services will be zero rated. At the same time, we have to look into the case of real estate. If the services is real estate related to real estate located in the UAE, it will not be an export of services. It will a place of supply will be in the UAE. Additional services may also be zero rated if the services are actually performed outside the UAE or arranging the services that are actually performed outside the UAE. Supply consists of facilitation of outbound tour package, those are zero rated. Now let us learn how import are to be treated in the UAE VAT return, as well as how the law is applicable as far as import is concerned. First, let us discuss import of goods. Goods are coming from UK to UAE. Here, goods are coming from overseas to, so there is a special treatment called reverse charge mechanism. In this case, goods are coming from overseas. Place of supply will be UAE, but tax has to be considered within the UAE by the importer. This treatment is called reverse charge mechanism. The importer will be responsible to pay the VAT for the goods which are importing from the UAE. Import of goods. Let us learn with an example. Suppose 1 million worth of goods coming from overseas and is reaching to UAE port, the CI value 1 million. 5% custom duty will be applicable. So there is a 1,050,000. This is the value of the considered to for the VAT. So 1,50,000, 1,050,000, 5% tax will be 52,500. So VAT which has to be paid for such importers 52,500. Since it has to be recorded on the reverse charge mechanism, we have to show input tax on import for 52,500 as well as tax payable output tax on import of 52,500. See, in UAE VAT return, from here line number or box number 6 will be displaying the value of goods which is already imported, that is 1,050,000 is declared value with a custom duty that will be automatically disclosing in your UAE VAT return form, and the tax liability of 52,500 also be disclosed. This amount which is disclosed under box number 6 can be reversed under box number 10. Now we have to learn how import of goods are to be recorded in the UAE VAT form and how tax will be applicable for that. The same way how import of services are to be recorded. It is very simple, and when invoices are received from overseas suppliers, we are paying them this to import of services. See here, service import from UK to UAE, reverse charge mechanism will be applicable. As per the rule, place of supply is UAE. Let us see one example. Suppose 1 million is imported. This is the value of import. Then it has to be recorded under reverse charge mechanism by showing an output VAT 50,000 and import as well as input VAT on import 50,000. Now let us see how it has to be disclosed in the UAE VAT return form 201. See box number 3, under box number 3 we have to disclose the liability 1 million and tax liability 50,000. However, the same can be reversed under box number 10, 1 million and 50,000. So the net effect will be 0, but we have to disclose this figure in the return form. Today we have discussed what is import of goods, import of services, export of goods, export of services, and the tax treatment in as per UAE VAT law, and how it has to be disclosed in the UAE VAT return form number 201. Hope it is clear for everyone for you. For more details, you can contact me on my mobile number 050 945 1245. Thank you.